You ever feel like you're missing some key secrets to really getting the most out of AI? Well, today, that's exactly what we're digging into. We're pulling the most important lessons from Google's official AI Essentials course.
So this course, it comes with a $49 price tag. And, I spent a good 5 hours going through it, really just to boil down all the most important stuff for you.
So think of this as your personal cheat sheet. We're about to walk through the 5 biggest takeaways that will totally level up how you think about, and more importantly, how you use artificial intelligence.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really use AI well, you kind of have to know the lay of the land first. And generally speaking, AI tools pop up in our lives in one of 3 main ways.
So first, you've got your standalone tools. These are what most of us picture when we hear AI, right? They're the big names, the destinations you go to on purpose. Apps like ChatGPT or Midjourney to do a specific thing, like write some code or create an image.
Second, there are integrated AI features. Now, this is the AI that's sort of sneakily baked into the software you're already using every day. So instead of having to copy and paste stuff into a whole other program, you can now use AI features right there, inside Google Docs, to make your writing better. It's all about putting AI right where you're already working.
And number 3, custom AI solutions. These are the specialists. They are tailor-made systems designed to solve one specific problem and solve it really, really well. A great example is the system Johns Hopkins built to spot sepsis. It made their diagnoses way more accurate. And don't think these are just for tech people. A good custom tool should feel super simple for the person actually using it.
So, knowing what kind of tool you're using, that leads us perfectly into our second big takeaway. And this one is a real game changer for getting better results from any of them. You have to surface the implied context.
Do you ever get results from an AI and just think, that's so generic? Well, it's usually because we forget that the AI has no idea what's in our head, If your friend who's a vegetarian asks for a restaurant recommendation, you instinctively know not to suggest a steakhouse. That's implied context. You have to spell that stuff out for the AI. And the difference this makes, it is night and day. A vague prompt gets you some boring, generic advice. But when you add all that juicy context, your actual performance, your history, what the industry is doing, suddenly the AI goes from a simple search engine to your own personal strategist. It gives you a real, tailored plan. You got to tell it what you already know.
All right, our third takeaway builds right on top of this. It's another prompting technique, but this one is all about teaching the AI what you want by showing it, not just telling it.
They call it zero-shot versus few-shot prompting. But listen, don't let the jargon scare you. Shot literally just means example. That's it. A zero-shot prompt has 0 examples, a one-shot prompt has 1, and a few-shot prompt has a couple. It makes perfect sense, right? The more good examples you give the AI, the better and more specific its response is going to be.
Okay, our fourth prompting technique is, I think, one of the most powerful, especially for bigger, more complicated tasks. It's called chain of thought prompting, and it's all about breaking things down into smaller steps.
And I love this definition right from the Google course because it's so direct. By taking a huge task and slicing it into little bite-sized pieces, you're basically guiding the AI, helping it stay on track to give you a much more accurate result.
Writing a cover letter is the perfect way to see this in action. Instead of just saying, hey, write me a cover letter, you do it piece by piece. First, you ask it to brainstorm a really killer opening hook. Tweak it till you love it. Then you ask for the body paragraphs that build on that specific hook. Then the closing. It becomes a collaboration, and you end up with so much more control and a way better final product.
So, now that we have all these powerful ways to get better results, we have to talk about our final takeaway. And this is absolutely critical. These tools are amazing, but we have to be smart about how we use them. And that means knowing their built-in limitations. There are 3 big ones you've got to remember.
First up is bias. An AI model is just a reflection of the data it was trained on. So if an image generator was only ever shown minimalist art, it's going to really struggle to create something big and bold and colorful. What goes in is what comes out.
Second, there are gaps in their knowledge. Most of these models have a cutoff date. That means they know absolutely nothing about the world after their training was finished. So if you ask about a big news story from last week, it's probably going to give you a wrong or incomplete answer.
And finally, hallucinations. This is when the AI just makes stuff up. It'll say something that's totally wrong, but it'll say it with complete confidence. Now, for brainstorming creative ideas, this can actually be kind of useful. But when the stakes are high, it's a huge bug. You have to always fact-check the important stuff.
So let's just do a super quick recap of your new toolkit. First, know the 3 types of AI tools. Second, always surface that implied context. Third, use examples. That's few-shot prompting. Fourth, break down big tasks with chain of thought. And finally, always be aware of the limitations, bias, gaps, and this tricky hallucinations.
You know, mastering these basics really does change the game. You go from being just a user to being a true collaborator. AI is an incredibly powerful partner, but just like any partnership, it works best with clear communication and when you understand its strengths and its weaknesses. So I guess the real question is, how are you going to use what you learned to be a better partner?